PUBG's baby brother.
And Overwatch, emphasis on the watch.
It's Monday the 13th of November and this is ScreenPLAY Patch Notes.
I'm Nick.
I'm Steph. Everyone's here, we're back in the country. Patch Notes is back, everything's happening. Hit us with the first news story, Nick.
All right, so it seems like everyone wants it and we may be one step closer to getting that sweet Overwatch movie. Activision Blizzard Consumer Products Group CEO Tim Kilpin was asked about the possibility of a film by MCV UK and said a film is something the company would like very much. Quote, we're a platform and a portfolio. These franchises exist across multiple platforms, so it's not just the game as a driver, but it's linear content, movies and TV, as a way to expand the audience and expand the opportunity, and then esports, because pull all that together and you're talking about franchises that are frankly like no other. So it's exactly the kind of passion and enthusiasm that you'd expect from the CEO of the Consumer Products Group. But Steph, this is inevitable, right?
Oh, for sure. My question is, would it be live action or CGI?
Oh, it better be CGI.
Because I was all for a live action World of Warcraft film until I saw the World of Warcraft film. And then I was like, let's never do that again.
Am I the only person who didn't hate the Warcraft film? Like, it wasn't amazing, but I think it was fine.
It's just, because it's so melodramatic.
Yeah.
I found that in live action, it just came across really comical.
Yeah, campy.
Like there were aspects of it that were really cartoony and campy, and then there were moments where, and then everything was all like glowing green and.
Well, I don't think you need to worry.
It didn't blend.
It just didn't blend. I don't think you need to worry about this. There's no way that they would make this live action. Like, the reason that they've been, my theory is the reason they've been making these animated shorts is that we're all guinea pigs in the massive Blizzard test group sort of situation. There's no reason for them to make all these animated shorts other than advertising, because they're just advertising to people who already play the game. They take so much time to make, they're so expensive to make. There's no reason you're making these to just, fill out the backstory of characters, which you do not need to make short films for. I love them, I'm so happy they're doing them. They're doing them because they're seeing if the market is there to have a film.
The thing is, I feel like Overwatch would be better in live action than World of Warcraft.
Why do you want it to be live action so much? I don't understand.
I don't necessarily want it to be live action. I just think it would be better in live action than World of Warcraft was. I
think, here's my theory. I don't think that they would do that because they would go, in World of Warcraft, it's all kind of very low poly looking characters, right? Like everyone is, when you see Thrall, you're like, okay, I can kind of see what Thrall looks like. And except for those cutscenes, he's basically 10 polygons. You have someone dressed as Thor and you go, right, okay, I can see that interpretation. We see Tracer. Tracer looks like a real human being. Like the quality is so good on that sort of stuff that for someone to then pretend to be Tracer in a film, I would feel like I was watching a cosplay movie. Like I would not be watching the Overwatch movie. The characters are animated, that's just the world.
I feel like the live action cinematics, the CGI cinematics for World of Warcraft are stunning. Yeah. And I would happily watch a whole movie of that. But Overwatch, I don't know if there's part of me that wants to start casting my favorite actors in all those roles.
I am so excited. Let us know in the comments if you would want this Overwatch to be live action or animation, because I was not expecting this conversation to happen, but I'm glad it did.
All right, well, Bluehole, the developers behind PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, have announced their next game. Think steampunk, swords and magic, flying machines, mechs, and you've got an MMO called Ascent Infinite Realm. And if you abbreviate that, it's written as AIR. Get it?
Very clever.
So this seemed a little bit out of left field to me, like what a strange game to follow up PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. But then I didn't realize the Bluehole were the developers that made, the South Korean devs behind the MMOs Terra and Devilion. Yeah. So really, it's Battlegrounds that was kind of the wild card there, and this is really a return to what they're known for.
Battlegrounds is the red-headed stepchild, freak baby. Yeah, 100%. Do you like the look of this?
I mean, more so than their other games, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge MMO fan, in general, but I like when they try something different and create a different world. I mean, their games have typically not been very successful in the Western market, but I'm curious to know if the success of Battlegrounds will push the Western market to be like, all right, let's see what these guys are about.
I think 100% no. 100% no. This looks so dumb. I'm not at all impressed. I mean, I just don't.
Kind of like Leonardo da Vinci type steampunk flying machines.
I think it's one of those situations. All these sort of Korean MMOs have the same thing to me, that they feel so generic. Even though they're so crazy, like everything, like there's so many different things in this.
Like spectacularly over the top boob physics.
So many boobs. It's just that it feels like they don't settle on anything. They just mash all this stuff together. The ones that I've played, like I've played Terra, I really do not like how Terra plays. There's so many of them play in, in a way that
the animations are very strange.
Yeah, and there's just a cultural difference in terms of the kinds of games that we play in the West compared to the kinds of games that, lots of Chinese and Korean players like to play. Those games, there's a reason those games don't translate as well over here and don't do as well over here. So I think PUB stays the freak stepchild, and I don't think many people playing PUB look at that next thing and they're like, oh yeah, let's give that a shot. That appeals to all the PUB things that I like about PUB.
What was the name of that MMO that was all about like awesome flying mounts?
Oh, and
cool mounts in general. Like it was a mount focused MMO.
Yeah.
And I just remember riding a unicorn.
We'll just put the trailer here and then end it with the title of the game so that the audience at least gets some satisfaction from this. And finally, Respawn, it came out a couple of days ago that Respawn is being bought by EA, but they have come out, Respawn has come out and said that they are not going to get shot in the back of the head in the desert casino style by the major company. Responding to a lot of fear and angst online over the last few days, Respawn Entertainment CEO Vince Zampella has made a statement to reassure fans EA has their best interests at heart. Quote, "It doesn't change the future of Titanfall, except for maybe we get more resources and better alignment. We see the need for bigger resources to make bigger games that are at the right level of competitiveness. EA has a great knowledge for live services stuff that we are looking at, and the game industry is transitioning to that. Ultimately, my message is we are still Respawn, and we are going to make the same games we did before, and hopefully, better." Are you convinced?
No.
Oh!
But I loved Titanfall. Titanfall 2 I really, really loved.
Oh, how good was Titanfall 2?
So good. So I have everything crossed that, they are going to be stronger and make even better games going forward. But I think anytime something like this happens, I'm always like, whoa, shaky ground. I think they are fine for Titanfall 3. That EA bought them for, I think it was $455 million. So there's no way they're buying them and shutting them down. They paid $2.2 million per developer at that studio. Titanfall 2 was a critical success. It was just a commercial failure. I think it was because it was released at the wrong time.
Well, part of that is friggin' EA's fault. They released Battlefield 1 at the same time as Titanfall 2.
Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot there. What was that about?
Yeah, and so, I mean, in this scenario now, I think that you buy this studio because you know that they can make really good games. You want them to make a really good game as Titanfall 3. My concern is not that they're going to be shut down before that, it's that after that, what does Titanfall 3 look like when, even here they're talking about this, live services, the game industry is transitioning to that. What sort of game is EA going to force into Titanfall 3 and then future projects?
Loot boxes.
Yeah, ultimately that's what we're talking about, is that, it'll definitely have that, but even more so of EA trying to do this thing that every game needs to be played by people for 4,000 hours forever, then, I don't know, the special thing about Titanfall 2 was that campaign, so don't ruin that campaign. Speaking
of loot boxes, should we move on to discussion time?
What a transition.
Oh. So, Nick, we finally have some pricing around loot boxes for Star Wars Battlefront 2, correct. And they are pretty expensive. I think with loot boxes, the thing is you just don't want it to be pay to win. Most loot boxes that we kind of enjoy are cosmetic kind of items that you pick up in things like Overwatch and what have you. Yeah. But this is very much about paying to cut out game time that you need to sort of level up your character and stuff like that.
And this is bad because it's some guy did some rudimentary mathematics, looked at a bunch of Star Wars Battlefront multiplayer games that were played, saw how many credits you get at the end of each round, and then added those up to see the hero characters. So we're talking Luke Skywalker, we're talking Darth Vader, we're talking all those other Star Wars names. There are ones there that cost credits to unlock. Vader and Luke being the most expensive at 60,000 credits. To earn 60,000 credits in the multiplayer without completing any of the challenges and stuff that give you credits as well, it's basically 40 hours of game time.
40 hours just in the multiplayer if you want to play as Luke Skywalker in Star Wars.
For one character.
That sucks.
So then you use the 60,000 credits you earn there to unlock bloody Luke, And then...
And you know, like, you see Luke Skywalker running around because some chumps bought him in the game, and you're like, God damn it, now I want to play as Luke. And then you find yourself, like, pathetically forking over your money.
Pathetically, it's shame. It's totally
Just so
shame.
you can wield that lightsaber as him. Honestly, they're trying to get my head around the in-game currency system and the credits and what that exchanges for and what everything costs and what that gets you and then the rank you need to achieve in order to upgrade stuff. Like, I feel like I needed an economics degree just to kind of digest it all and figure it all out.
Yeah, because there's credits and crystals, and then you get real money for crystals, and then you use those. Yeah. So, I mean, it can still. I feel like it still comes back to that same question that we've been asking of Assassin's Creed, we've been asking of Middle-earth, of are you balancing the game for fun, or are you balancing the game for paying for microtransactions? Because do you think it's actually fun to play 40 hours of Battlefront 2 to unlock the character, Darth Vader, who you want to play from the very beginning? The whole reason I paid friggin' $80 for a Star Wars game is so that I can play as the Star Wars characters. I don't give a shit about the Stormtrooper character that no one gives a shit about because they don't have a name. I don't know what they are underneath there. They could be like just 6 Star Wars kids in a Stormtrooper outfit all controlling different parts of the body.
But I think it makes so much more of a difference in a multiplayer situation when they set the loot box system up like this. Because in you know, Shadow of War, Assassin's Creed or whatever, I won't even touch loot boxes. Like, I don't give a crap. I'm just in there by myself having a good time. Like, I don't feel any pressure, you know, to like be the best. It's my own experience, right? But as soon as you're in a multiplayer scenario and it's competitive, it makes a massive difference. And that's why it pisses me off.
Yeah, I know. It's very bullshit, and this comes back to...
It is very bullshit.
It's very bullshit, that's right, because I agree. And like you said before, you see some chump running around as Luke or whatever, and then you go, oh, I want to be him, so pathetic.
And he's all overpowered because he's bought the like most expensive, I think it's $90 US for like the maximum loot box.
But the loot boxes are still loot boxes. Like you,
so it's still a gamble.
You buy credits to unlock the character, and you still get that gamble. I opened up a loot box. I've opened up a couple, and one of them I got items for a character I don't even have unlocked yet. So it's like, okay, now it's just telling me I need to continue to unlock things because now I own like a cosmetic item for this character, but I haven't got them. And this comes back to the same bullshit that is in Rainbow Six Siege. And Pete, I know that you and I just fought for years about this, that you pay money, do not lock things behind more money or behind time that I need to play a game. If it's a free-to-play game, this is a perfectly fine model for you to use. If it is a paid game, do not then go, you need to play 40 hours of this, you know, or it'll be less, but you need to play X amount of hours before you get to the thing that you really ultimately want, because your game should be compelling. Dota, CSGO, friggin' PUBG, Overwatch, these games have player bases that continue playing them because it's good gameplay. If you don't have the faith that your game can retain an audience without putting arbitrary things behind like distance played, then you know, you need to rethink how your game works.
Just let me be Darth.
Just let her be Darth.
Let me be Darth.
Let her be Darth,
Look,
man.
I'm not gonna play this game for 40 hours. I'm not gonna do it. It's never gonna happen.
You'll never be Darth.
I'll never be Darth.
You'll be that friggin' thing with the big eyes from A Force Awakens.
The penguin?
Oh no, you'll be, yeah, but...
I'm gonna be the penguin.
I was thinking the old wrinkly woman from the last film, but you'll be the penguin.
If the penguin was in multiplayer.
I'm gonna look up right now, is the penguin in Battlefront 2?
Maybe I would pay $90 US for that.
It's asking, is Palpatine in Battlefront 2? Okay, look, we're done here. Here's games you can play without all that unnecessary bullshit.
And also with it, because Star Wars Battlefront 2 comes out this week.
Oh shit, and also with it, because Star Wars 2 fucking comes out this week. God, what a piece of shit. Hope it's good though. It's Monday the 13th of November, and here's what you can soon play. It may have been a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but you can get in early on the Battlefront 2 action with the Elite Trooper Deluxe Edition, which drops tomorrow, 3 days earlier than the Standard Edition, but 3 days later than the EA Origin Access Demo Edition. Complicated and stupid. It's got all the things the first one was missing, like a story and a reasonable amount of content for full retail price. It's also got plenty we didn't ask for too, like loot boxes, lies, deceit, and bad behavior in Hollywood, and also in LA Noire, which is dropping onto current-gen consoles, including the Switch, on Tuesday. We can only imagine how the gyros and the Joy-Con are going to aid Phelps's investigations. Yep, it's still a bottle. On the 15th, LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 lets you explore an original story across 18 familiar Marvel locations. There are like 4 million characters in this action puzzle platformer, but it still manages to stay more coherent than most of the films. Made right here in Australia is Ashes Cricket, because when you can't win the Ashes in real life, you make believe in video games. The game features fully licensed male and female teams, so when you're yelling obscenities at Warner for getting another duck, it really feels like it's hitting home. Was Pokemon Sun and Moon just not ultra enough for you? Well, start training, because the Ultra editions are dropping this week. The games offer a, quote, alternate story, promising a couple of narrative surprises for those of you on a second playthrough, plus new areas, Pokemon, and Z moves. Nintendo has confirmed this is the last Pokemon release for the 3DS. Next up, Switch! Which seems to be Bethesda's motto too, with Doom dropping last week and Skyrim out this Friday. The game has been out since 2011 and sold almost 23 million copies, but Bethesda just can't put this thing to bed. The Switch version has been appropriately Nintendo-fied, featuring motion controls and Zelda skins and weapons. And finally this week, the plebs join the fray in Star Wars Battlefront 2 as the standard release goes live just in time for the weekend. That's what you can soon play. What are your picks? Let us know in the comments. Alright, so that's what you can soon play. Steph, pick me.
Wait, is that me throwing it back at you because I'm picking you?
No, that was me throwing at you, but I wanted to say something different other than what is your pick.
With my pick.
Yeah, hit me with your pick.
My pick is LA Noire, because it's coming to current gen consoles, it's on the Switch now, but most importantly, I think it was a hugely underrated game. Like, it had some issues.
Yeah.
It was mired in studio controversy.
Yeah.
But it was hands down one of the most memorable gaming experiences I had on last gen.
Wow.
It was awesome.
So is this a pick for what you're going to play, or this is like a recommendation?
This is a recommendation.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
sure.
I can see that.
If it's been a while since you've played it, maybe it's time to see it on the Switch. Why not? And if you've never played it, definitely give it a go.
Can I add an addendum to the end of your recommendation?
Sure.
Which is, as soon as you hear the words arson unit, turn off the game. The game for you ends as soon as he.
Look,
in fact, not even spoilers. Just beep out that word I just said. You know how I said half a word? Beep it out. But turn off the game then. The second half of that game is just very unnecessary.
It goes downhill, but it's worth sticking it out.
It is a great game. It is a great game.
It's a great game.
That's a better pick than my pick.
If you're not familiar with the game, it uses facial technology in order to be able to like detect lies in people's faces, which were always really like heaps obvious, and the reactions to them were always heaps over the top. But it was really cool, fun detective work.
That's a much better pick than my pick.
What's your pick?
Star Wars Battlefront 2. Because we need to see. We need to know for ourselves.
It's true.
I need to count how many hours until she can become Darth. I'm going to become Darth on your behalf because you're not going to spend 40 hours in the multiplayer.
It's never going to happen.
And then I'm going to give up after 2 hours and just spend $100. And that's pathetic. And I want to revel in how much I hate myself. But no, I really need to just understand. I have high hopes for that campaign. That's what I really...
You know what they should do?
What should they do?
And I'm sure they've done this at some point in some game.
Just make everything free once you actually buy a game?
Yes. But they should have a clear identifier in game of which players have earned it the hard way and which players have walked over the cash. So you get like a little $sign above your head if you've been weak enough. You know?
That's great. Is that you can become Darth Vader.
Oh, money bags over here.
Yeah, you become Darth Vader, but your Darth is covered in dollar bills, and it's just
he
like
wears a big like chain around his neck with like a gangster dollar bill on it.
At that point, are we saying the cooler Darth Vader is the Darth Vader that gets paid for? I mean, I just don't know. But we need to move on now to
prize time.
Prize time. I looked down, but it was prize time.
It's prize time! Last week on the episode of Screenplay, we gave you this picture of sexy Miles wearing the Hearthstone leggings at BlizzCon, and we demanded that you do things to it in order to win this epic prize pack from Logitech.
You did things. You did a bunch of things. I saw more of Miles's legs than I really wanted to. And I feel like we need to have a long conversation about whether or not this was a good picture to use. But regardless, we should go through the runners-up, aka the losers, before we get to the winner, aka the best one.
Okay, the first runner-up was Jessica Cameron.
I'm so sorry, Jessica, I just called you and your family losers. That's really cute.
I love it.
There's a bunch of kids. They've all got Miles's legs, creepy. There's a baby, Miles's legs, even creepier.
And she's photoshopped the beards onto all of their faces.
I just don't understand. Does the baby have a beard?
No, the baby's got something in his mouth, so I think it was obstructed.
Right, okay, so potentially the baby could have a real beard, and we don't know. There's
That's
just something
true.
in front of that
That's
baby's
true.
face. But those kids have swagger.
I mean, Miles is multiplying. It's terrifying.
It's what he's
and
always
wonderful
wanted.
all at once.
So that congratulations to the loser family, who were very cute, and it's just very sweet. Runner-up number 2.
So we have Damien Ginnivan, and we have Hadley Barton Arncliffe. Who both
what a name.
Made Hearthstone cards, of course.
You win! Congratulations!
No, you don't. Don't say that. They were both Hearthstone cards, which is in keeping with the Hearthstone tights, which is great. One of them that Hadley did is this kind of cool animated one, which looks amazing.
It's a golden legendary.
And you can see it's the Miles passport picture that's coming off it like bubbles in the background.
Oh my god, I never noticed that. That's great. Okay, phenomenal. And the stats on this?
Death Rattle, random minion receives +2 and +2 and legendary tights, which is awesome.
And it's a 6/6. That's actually a pretty decent card and something that I do see in a future expansion, except we don't know what legendary tights are.
The other one, which I think is probably my favorite of the two, is Pants of Miles, +10 to charisma and immune to shame.
Yeah, phenomenal, because you've invented 2 new keywords here. Well, and a new, that's a new
card type?
Card type, because that's a screenplay card.
Yeah.
So that's the only one in the set.
How do you play that in the game, do you think?
I mean, well, it doesn't have an attack or
I reckon
health.
You know what I think it is? I think it's I think it's like a freeze card, like a distraction. You throw it down and you say wank, and then the other person is so shocked that they miss a turn. So you know they're like frozen for a turn. That's how I would play that.
I love it.
But there can be only one winner, and the winner was Emma, STRYKER, MANTIS, BRULE.
So many good names this week. So many 3 and 4 barrel names.
She made Miles and Needlepoint.
How awesome is
and
this?
Like really beautifully too. Please send that in, Emma, if you're willing to part with it, which I can fully understand if you're not.
I was about to say, if I spent 40 hours making this or trying to unlock Darth Vader, then there's no way that I would ever hand it over to somebody else.
But if you do want to send it in, we will proudly display it here along with Miles made of human hair.
I have 2 things to say about this.
What's this?
One, the detail on the tights is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Number 2, wouldn't it be terrible if this was just Photoshop with a sort of needlepoint filter, and then she's like, shit, now I need to needlepoint it in, or they'll know, because we'll know if you don't send it in that this is not real.
Even like the creases in the jacket and
It's great.
everything,
It's just
awesome.
great work. It's just great work. Well done, Emma. You won a
Congratulations.
wonderful prize, thanks to Logitech. We also need to mention our second winner, which was an Easter egg in the giveaway during the 4Play stream last week before the show.
Yes, this week's Easter egg was a little more obvious because we've had a few that no one's been able to get.
Well, it's like, there's a limited amount of stuff you can do on the set.
It's true.
Like, it's like, to go, or something changes on the set, it's kind of like, well, we either remove something or add something. So then we would go for something more subtle, and you guys would just like,
You know what we should do? We should start splicing in porn, like in Fight Club.
Yep.
You know?
Okay.
That could be the
Do you
Easter egg.
really think that we should start doing that?
Oh, 7:30 time slot, we can't do it anymore.
No, but we could have done it at 10. We just could have done it at 10. That would have been
I mean,
fine.
depending on what we show, I think we could still get away with it.
Just a big old dick. So anyway, the winner of that one was the very lovely John Nedders, who I think needs 3 more last names. But you noticed that the Hearthstone box behind Miles disappeared during the eSports segment.
Yeah, congratulations, John.
Which, to let people know, was not initially what we were going to do. We had a much more subtle thing, but then we went, oh, it looks like that box is like, someone threw that box hard at him and it embedded in his head, so we need to get rid of that. Bam, there's your Easter egg.
Congratulations, John. You win this awesome prize pack thanks to Evotech Custom Computers.
Alrighty, here's where you can check out screenplay this week. This week, online and on our socials, we'll be dropping some of the other pieces of BlizzCon glory we captured while we were over there. And on Friday, we'll be coming at you with Answer.
But on Thursday, Screenplay is on your TV. You can watch our Star Wars Battlefront 2 review, our look at the Punisher TV series, and my Parisian adventure for Sony's Paris Games Week announcements. All that and more at 7:30 on 7mate on Thursday.
So many 7s. You can follow Screenplay in all of these places to make sure you don't miss a beat. Details are in the description below.
Well, that's it for today, but as usual, we have one of your awesome clips to play us out.
That's right, Roblo Staple gave a proper Hanzo welcome to this boss in Junkenstein's Revenge.
Dragon's fire consumes all.
Right between the eyes.
If you've got a clip you'd like us to run, then send it to us on Twitter using the hashtag ScreenPlayMyClip.
That's right, you can send it to @ScreenPlayAU, @HexSteph, or @NickBoy. We are @done, goodbye.
Bye!
You are so onto something with the shaming people who bought things for money. I had the same idea for gun control in America.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you buy a gun, all guns are just sparkly and have balls hanging off the bottom.
Bedazzled.
Yeah, so you just bedazzle and big balls hanging off every gun, and that's the way that you stop people from buying guns.
What's with the balls?
Well, the bedazzling could look cool, but when you've got giant balls hanging off the bottom of your gun, I just feel like that's not something most tough guys want when they're doing that.
They would swing a little bit.
Yeah, and they'd always be damp, so they just go.
Oh no, not that sound. That was awful.
But you're definitely onto something with the Vader thing. Balls on Vader. Cut.